Holy shit, man. I barely made it through all those calls today. Fuck. Anyway, I have a little tiny bit of energy left. I wanted to hear the general manager report. I mean, when Pooty tweets calls, he tweets calls. Ah, man, I used to think I used to tweet a lot of calls.
Turn it over to you, Mr. General Manager, for your report this morning.
Well, thank you all for that last motion and your support. As we look forward, I've got quite an extensive set of updates for you today, so if you could just bear with me. The first thing I just would comment on is the state of our current negotiations. There were references to some of the written materials that were provided to the board. I think, as board members know, typically we don't negotiate through the public forum with the ATU, and we did.
That's kind of disgraceful, since the whole thing is operated with tax funding. You would think the taxpayers would have some right to know what's going on, but that's not how America works. Not in America. You give them their taxes, and they do what they want. And anybody that votes for a tax increase for anything is an idiot, and the country's full of idiots.
Put the negotiations on pause since the contract expired at the end of last October.
Yeah.
And it's been
this has been a year now that there's been and what's happened here is that all the Trimet employees and retirees have had to pick up the criminal health insurance increases ourselves. This guy just got 2 or 3 a month or 2 months of vacation instead of a raise that he can cash out later. What do we get? We got a cut.
Long reactivated, probably around May or June, we got reactivated the negotiations together. Yeah. We are at the stage of mediation, so we have an outside mediator in assisting the parties. There are some significant gaps between the parties still, but there are some areas of progress. So there's a fresh set of eyes for those who've been involved in bargaining before to help.
He's a union buster, okay? No fresh set of eyes. It's all a scam. This union busting has been going on since McFarland took over, and it continues now. And that board of directors is useless. They're not your friends. They are your enemies.
So, in fact, as we speak today, literally the parties are in mediation today, being Wednesday.
Yeah, right.
So I'm always optimistic
you're a lying
we'll be able to advance the relationship together. And so I think so we are in mediation right now, and I'm not going to get into the details of it.
See, he doesn't tell you shit. A big secret, man. We're not going to tell you what's going on. That's how transparent we are. We're not going to tell the employees. We're not going to tell the public. Nobody gets to know except the executives of these industrial complexes, and that includes the union.
Any parts of the proposal. I will comment that one thing we've historically done here is we will post on our website the different facts of the positions that people can.
Okay. I was just looking at that just so you
interpret any way they want. So I just encourage people. We will be updating that very soon again, because we're just in another state of update. So if hopefully mediation can that investment in time together with, I think we've got an excellent mediator from the state of Oregon helping the parties.
Sure you do.
And from then, as President Warner has indicated, then the next state is one of the parties, if not both, can file for a arbitration period, which we go to. So that's the current state that we're in right now. So as natural, and I think many of us have been through lots of bargaining in many different places over our years, myself included. But
we don't make $400,000 a year, you shithead. Okay, you get paid based on screwing us, and some of us are aware of it. Now, where's the fucking contract? So you can't even find it, man. It's hard to find. And I was looking at it the other day, or maybe it's in here. Have they updated this? I haven't even looked. I have to do another one of those. Budget, pension. No. See, it's not hard to find this shit. Now, I was looking at it. Now, where did I see it? I want you to see it. Here it is. Watch. Okay, I want you to see. He says, oh, it's all on your website. You can look at it whenever you feel like it. Okay, and look, let's just go. The last ones they have posted is July. Let's take a look at this. Okay. This is what you got, man. Look at you. What is all this? This is what you're looking at. This is it. How are we supposed to know what this is? Okay, it doesn't tell you exactly what the change is. I mean, and that's how every update is posted. It's like everything. No, I don't know. I mean, everything is clouded in a. What the hell? Anyway, you saw the. All right, here. Look at this shit. You can't make. The point is, you can't make heads or tails out of it. Okay. This should tell you exactly where's the information that says exactly, precisely what the union wants and what the and Trimet. It's not there. It's all hidden.
There's lots of emotion that can come with it, so just want to keep a steady hand on the best spirit of getting to a successful conclusion for parties. But we will get there. We always have.
No, you have not.
We always will. So
you never have. When the mediator shoves down a contract down the employee's throat, that's not getting there. Okay? That's forcing the employees to take something. Okay, you can't come up with something together, and the mediator heavily weighted to management. I can't believe the union even approved that method.
So I probably just leave that part there, so the parties can do their work, and I think they are on both sides. So it's not easy, but it's I probably just leave it there.
Director Edwards, did you just raise your?
See how he talks and he says nothing. He said nothing. All nothing.
You have a comment on this?
Yeah, let's hear. The only one that has.
Oops, you're muted.
All right, I've got to take my hand down. I apologize.
Okay, great.
You're not going to say anything?
Okay, sorry.
Great.
I will comment to the one public delegation we did have is around the red line. I think if in normal steps that you go through in large projects like this one, this is about a $206 million capital project, which includes double tracking to the airport.
Complete waste, especially with ridership down by more than half.
Just to remind the board, expansion to Fairplex and a number of cars and
the blue line goes to Fairplex. I don't know what this even is. It's like they're not expanding anything. There's already tracks there. This is a complete fraud.
Some rework at I call the aerial spaghetti of Gateway. So we've got just under $100 million that normally we go through an application process for the FDA. In this case, the president directly tweeted out, basically authorizing the project to proceed. So, and specifically referencing Trimet. So
that's not what he tweeted, mother. He didn't tweet that. He said, "Here's X amount of money from the CARES Act." He didn't. Oh, actually, maybe he did say something about that, didn't he? I think he might have. I'll look that up.
This project has been scrutinized with the FDA in our partnerships very much.
Something about that.
Sometimes, if you make too many changes, there's I'm going to suggest the
Trimet.
theory of what you might want to do, and there's the practicality of what you can do and what you can afford to do. Okay. So this project does fit into
All right,
that.
hold it. Here's what Trump actually tweeted. I am proud to announce the Portland areas will receive $184 million to support continued operations of their. This has got nothing to do with the red line. Okay, this he lied. That's what he tweeted. I am proud to announce we'll receive $184 to support continued operations of their transit system. This will keep workers on the job and help economic by ensuring doesn't say a fucking thing about the fucking red line, you lying hack.
Seen recently the project to be over scoped and over budget. We have to fit within that mandate. And very quickly, this project could go from $200 million to $400 to $500 million, which would actually make the project very unviable. And we would lose the support from the FDA in the context of that. So we're proceeding because we can double track to the airport. And part of that is a contribution also with our partner at PDX. Curtis Robinhold and team, they've been just great partners on this with us for the red line. So we'll help us speed up not only the red line, but it's actually going to help us speed up for our customers, for everybody in this region, every single rail line, because the red line is actually holding the speed of the whole network back. Because every train, most trains go from Gateway to across the steel bridge, but all trains go across the steel bridge. In the rail world, you're only as good as the train in front of you. So as they all join together, PDX, the gateway area is actually the single track into the airport is actually holding us back. So there are limitations of what we can do. So we're moving from the pure optimization of what we could do to something affordable, and then we can move on, and that's what we're doing. So it will very much help the system. And I don't want to lose sight also of the ability to manage TOD in this area in the long run. It often gets...
It's all about development. He just said it. Transit-oriented development, which is basically dead after the COVID baloney. Everything that they do is about the goddamn developers, okay? Everything.
Forgotten that we look at just the rail lines, the rail, steel rail. I think Gateway is a beautiful long-term jewel, not only for Trimet, but for this region. It's right by 2 interstate highways. It is 15 minutes to downtown by train, 5 to 10 minutes to the airport. If you listed that out in any major metropolitan city in the world, you go, wow, how do we take advantage of that, the quality of life? So I think there's a beautiful opportunity for TOD, which has been actually thought about in the backdrop of the project we're actually doing. So I'll leave that there. The next one I just wanted to just also congratulate Dee and team on is Kroll, who's the rating agency, and was raised by the Finance and Audit Committee today. Again, reaffirmed AAA or affirmed AAA bond rating. That's great news for this agency, particularly these turbulent waters economically. So that will continue to serve the work the board has done over many years. Will serve this agency very well. I'm going to cover off several other items here. Again, I said I've got a fairly long list today. I'd like to give you an update on some of the wildfires and COVID. We'll talk quickly about the ridership in August. I want to cover off the fare collection, particularly on buses that we're reactivating and accepting cash back on board.
Yay.
I'd like to give an update, and I'll bring John Gardner in to talk about the reimagining of safety and security on our system. Some of that came up in earlier conversations today. Really exciting and important work. Steel Bridge Project, the year-end audit report from Moss Adams, and I'm also going to ask Alan Leto to come up and cover off the business plan, particularly how in fact did this agency do last year. So that'll be coming here shortly. So firstly, the wildfires, I think as Director Way had commented on, and I also want to reach out and thank Director Way because she sent me some of the work and links she was doing personally to help out in Clackamas County. So I just want to do a reverse shout out to her to thank her for her own personal leadership to help all of our community persevere through this and recover. So we know people have been affected by the wildfires, whether they had to evacuate or worried about their family or loved ones, or even other parts of the states where, frankly, some of this destruction has been exceptionally devastating. On top, where employment's been challenged, the economy's hitting, COVID's hitting. So this just wasn't a wildfire. This was I think, a psychological trauma shot to all of us beyond wildfires. So my heart is heavy as we manage this issue together. and our employees. We have had a number of employees who are personally affected by fires due to the threat, whether it be property damage or even the effects of smoke in their homes. I don't know about you, but I even had days where I had smoke inside where I'm covering off the WebEx here today. I could smell it and it didn't go away. So it wasn't just about being in a bus or a train or a cleaner. It followed you home to your residence. So,
oh, he did. Wait,
Trimet
I'm wrong. He's right. There it is. Kelsey did. He got me, man. Kelsey wasn't lying. He got me. Okay, you win on that one. You fucking motherfucker.
Very quickly, a temporary leave policy to put in place for employees who were forced from their homes, and we urge others affected by the fires to take leave if they were necessary. So we really want to make sure that's what those things are, those type of policies are available for. We adapted it, we expanded it, said please take care of your health first. We also deployed very quickly the heat of the fires, so to speak. The peak of ours started on Wednesday where it really got bad. Thursday morning, I just got to thank our procurement team and the maintenance team. They distributed, I know when you're a large organization such as yourself, it may seem that to a frontline person that, gee, we don't care. We're on our own. And we try and respond as quick as we possibly can. Literally the next morning, N95 masks, where many couldn't even get them. We had looked upstream a bit and secured a bunch. We actually had our personal managers and leaders delivering masks. We had about 10,000 of them on the initial batch delivered throughout that day and into early Friday morning to throughout all of our different facilities throughout the region. So we sure weren't perfect, but I've got to tell you, people sure gave their best efforts to respond accordingly. And that's not to take away from the mask that's needed. So the COVID mask is separate than the N95 mask. They serve two different purposes. So I really want to thank folks for the efforts there, as well as, of course, our frontline staff just wearing the N95 mask. And normally you have to go through a process where medically you have to get them evaluated and signed, sealed by a medical professional. But Dr. Vines at OHA waived that for us because of the speed of the circumstances that we're following. So with these fires. So I want to thank her for helping us be as resilient, as nimble as we can in our very important partnerships. The part of it most people may not know is we also provided our great operators and our transportation and maintenance people, we provided transportation to the firefighters in Washington County, heading to and from the front lines. So we weren't just delivering service, we were allocating buses in the back room down to Newburgh, to other places to help with the repositioning of this chaotic time.
Yeah.
And I really would like to call out the lift and paratransit service from Margot Moore and their whole team. They helped evacuate more than 130 people in Clackamas County alone. I think that was even referenced a little bit earlier in one of the reports. More than 100 of those individuals, they had mobility challenges, and they lived, in one case, at a memory care facility in Oregon City. So a big thanks to the nimbleness of our lift paratransit team over there.
Oh, nimble!
And so
nimble! Oh my God, he said nimble.
When you look at all of this in the midst of the economy, pandemic, the protests, the regrettable riots, I just can't thank our team enough. It's one thing, I'm an old athlete, it's one thing to get up for a short period of time. It's another thing to be on top of your game every day for months and months and months. And that's what this team has been doing across the board, from bus operators all the way through to our service planners, our engineers,
everybody's great,
our maintenance people. Just everybody's been really going full out for many, many months. And to me, it really is. I'm proud to be part of this orchestra. Sometimes we hit an off note, but it's sure not because we aren't trying. So big thanks. But our heart does go out to all those people impacted. We are looking at ways to try and help our internal employees, whether it be GoFundMe's, things of that nature. So we're working, trying to get feedback right now on anybody who we know there's a privacy side to this, and we want to be really sensitive to this. But we want to try and, where those who may need help, that we may be able as an organization to be able to help contribute
All right, you got me
to
on
some
the trunk.
potentially tragic recoveries.
All right, well, if they're going to give them $99 million and Trimet has to come up with $100 million, that's $200 million in Stacy and Whitbeck's pocket. You know, they're never going to turn down federal money because it goes right into the local oligarchy's pockets. You know, that's how it works in America, man.
Shifting gears a little bit to ridership, just a quick brief update. Again, we very clearly, if you look at the analysis that we provide to the board members and available to the public, the ridership continues to be challenged. In the month of August, we provided just over 3.6 million rides. That's down about 54.5% over August of the prior year, or pre-COVID, if you will. And that was also before we started to put service back in September, moving from 80% or down 20%. We added about 10% more service. So hopefully that'll be a catalyst. We want to be a thought leader in the region too, as we can financially afford it, to getting the service back to hoping.
Yeah, we know the deal here. You know, he'd have some credibility if he cut something else besides bus service, but he didn't. And because of that, I don't give him credibility with it, because all the transit agencies did the exact same thing. They cut service to people, but their own executive staffs, all the office people, they all got a bonus. They don't have to even go to work anymore. They all stay home and get full pay. What a deal. You think they'd give them a fucking reduction in pay that they don't have to come into work anymore?
Business to open and others to move around in healthy ways like transit. The percentage of 54.5, that's an improvement since July. And if you remember back to when it all started, we were down about 70%. To the paratransit reference by Director Bowen was about 80%. So, but the overall system was about 70% drop. Some of I think the 54.5% that drop is still an improvement over the 60-70%. I think you got about a 5% buffer because of the steel bridge work. So it's we had to cut the rail line between the bridge on either side, and we ended up putting shuttles in place. So people were having to use Max and buses more on the shuttle.
Yeah,
so
it's
that
very
probably
convenient.
Reflected, I would suggest, between a sort of a 4 to 5% uplift on the 55% number. So, we'll see how that normalizes next month. The next item I'd just like to cover with you is the acceptance of cash. We've nearly completed putting all the safety panels on almost 600 of our buses. We've got about 700. Some of the older buses, we call the 2500 series, we're going to be retiring. So they're not really needed for daily service. So we're just in the process of winding those out of the system as new ones come in. Typically on a typical day, we implement about 511 buses every morning, which is a lot of buses. And right now we're just under 600 buses that have the safety panels on them. So we not only can meet service every day for our operators, that they've got the protections that help with COVID as well, as a secondary measure, not a primary measure. But we've now got a very healthy spare ratio now, that if one bus has an accident or a breakdown of some kind, that we've got backups in place. That has now given me confidence to activate collecting of cash back, which many of our operators have actually been asking for, because it's caused challenges for them.
Yeah, the kill them all drivers want it. Half the drivers are kill them all, half the drivers are save them all. It's just, they think that if we get rid of the fare evaders, then we won't have any problems. Well, I wish that was true. And as the civilization collapses, it's just going to get worse. You're in the worst job possible right now if you're a bus operator. And if you actually try to collect fares and you get mugged, you're not going to get any sympathy from me. Nope. I'll just laugh at you for being an idiot. And that's why everybody hates me.
And for a variety of reasons. So we will be October 1st. We have already started signaling this through social media and other communications that we'll be starting collecting cash fares on the bus system again. So we do know we've also been trying to use that period when we did collect cash for trying to get people converted to the hop card. and we in fact had some success.
COVID world order.
So we in fact have we've given out about 10,000 free hop cards as a chance for conversion. So don't let the crisis go to waste.
Whoa!
What we've been trying to look
at. Did you just hear that? He just said the oligarch line, the Great Reset. Don't let a crisis go to waste. He's just repeated the oligarchy's line. Whew. Well, I already knew that he was part of this scam. That's why he makes all this money. All these people here are all part of the scam.
And also to remind people, which cash does not get a discount, but with a hop card, you get fare capping that this board some period ago put in place. So there's some value to the hop card for a variety of reasons that we all know about. So, so that is coming. Next topic is, I think, in front of all of our minds, is pushing forward on efforts of reimagining safety security on the system and Trimet overall. Over the past 2 days, we've held some recent listening sessions with the community to hear their thoughts, concerns, opportunities, to reframe how we might want to look in going forward. We've also activated soliciting feedback online through an online survey. That will be open till Sunday, this coming Sunday. And so really encourage anyone listening here today or picking this up elsewhere to participate if they haven't yet had that opportunity. It's on our homepage at trimet.org. And so what I'm maybe going to do now is I'm just going to hit the pause button and see if John Gardner wants to unmute. And I think you probably give an additional update on some of the status of Blue Ribbon Panel, things of that nature. There's a lot of activity that's working behind the scenes. It's just on this.
I want to watch it, but it's painful. I'm getting pain. It's giving me. I need to get another beer. It's painful to watch these hypocrites.
Edge of coming forward. So
the Blue Ribbon
John,
Panel.
I'll just hit the pause button and over to you for a moment.
I'll be right back. I want a beer.
Are you there?
While we're waiting, does the board have any other comments or questions for Doug on the issues he's already covered?
All right.
Okay, John, are you there now?
Where's John? Particularly useless bureaucrat.
I'm not hearing him, Doug. Do you want to come back to him?
Yeah, I'm going to see if maybe
leader
Bernie,
in technology. You can't even get your goddamn
comments, Bernie, you want to make on this one?
Yeah, so just very briefly, I'm not sure. I do have a chat here, see if John doesn't mention it. So we are in the midst of the project that John is leading to reimagine the safety and security system on Trimet. It's a multi-pronged effort. The piece that is rolled out right now and is underway and most active is the community outreach element. We're doing a lot of work with community-based organizations to do outreach to individuals and groups that aren't typically engaged in conversations like this. The Coalition of Communities of Color is leading that effort, but they're working with a whole range of other organizations such as Centro Cultural out in Washington County, ERCO, and others to make sure that we're accessing folks who may have language barriers or just are not as experienced in engaging in these kinds of conversations. And we'll be talking with them about what their concerns are about security on the system, how they feel about the current policing structure, whether that makes them feel more or less secure, what kinds of changes they would like to see, and how we might reinvest the $1.8 million that the general manager has identified as available for this effort. So that's sort of phase one. We also have a survey that's been circulated by a lot of different organizations to our Riders Club and internally as well to gather information about how folks would like to see the system change, or if they would like to see it.
Well, we
stay the
already
same.
know the answer to
Bernie, I
that.
think
They
John's-
want a fairless system, and you're not going to give it to them. So, you're lying piece of shit.
Just hopped on here now too, so still
Okay, John, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I just covered off the community outreach portion and was about to turn to the Blue Ribbon panel and the best practices research. So you may want to pick it up from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I followed along. I just couldn't. I had a communication problem. So Jeff, if you want to give me some sharing ability, I will just share some images and walk through the outreach.
Where is he? Look at how cute this is. Leader in technology. There he is. There's John right there. You can't even see.
Okay, go ahead, John.
195,000 a year, 220,000 a year, but they're all black, so that's good, right? Black people are good. There, look, one black board member. They always have to have one.
Jeff, I'm on my work phone and on my desk, my service, so I would.
Oh, I see. All right, let's try this.
Who are all these
other
people?
one.
I want to see pictures of everybody. Come on, John, get your shit together. You fucking make enough money.
Okay, how's that?
Here you go.
Can you see that image?
Let's see this. This should be good.
all good, John.
Perfect. So again, apologies for the disconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get it
we
together.
are all in this project, and we're
Reimagining
off to a great
public
start.
safety.
And I definitely want to acknowledge what
Project
Director Way
background.
said this morning about the difficulties in engaging people, not
That's a
just
good
during
picture.
the normal
Is that
summer
Portland? Must be.
issues, but just obviously engaging the community during the summer, during a pandemic, and then now in the middle of the first, online school year has been quite challenging. And then obviously recently with the tragedies of the fires that have affected our counties and our state. And yet we feel really good about the amount of feedback we've received so far. And just as a primer, and Bernie said this already, but this project has essentially three components: community-wide listening,
This is horrible.
the establishment of a local panel to take all that information and to develop recommendations, and eventually those recommendations will be
National
moved forward,
experts. They
based on
failed
the GM's
miserably.
discretion into new non-police response resources. So just a little bit more information we've done today. We obviously have launched the Public Safety and Security website. We've completed 5 Trimet committee and writer focus groups, and this is what Director Gonzalez was speaking to already. We've heard from our TIAC and our TIAC agencies, from our CAT committee. We brought in 2 Writer Club focus groups to hear directly from writers on the system, as well as writers that are participating in our low-income fare program. And also next week, we're going to convene 2 youth focus groups that are connected to our Trimet Youth Subcommittee, a group that TIAC launched last year.
Great.
We are, as Bernie said, we are also working with some traditional and non-traditional partners. And this week and next week, we will be working to convene over 20 individual focus groups. We have the Coalition of Communities of Color convening their member organizations around this conversation, as well as the Portland United Against Hate convening their member organizations. And then we have organizations convening their specific communities to go very much deeper into the survey questions and other questions about their ideas, their feedback, how their community feels about using the system, and the steps we can take to make it safer. And that's a large group of folks. And we still are getting folks interested in participating. So the final list will look a little different when we do a full program report out next in November. Some of these organizations are going beyond focus groups. Some of them are actually in a position to do one-on-one surveys, mainly focusing around language supports, to make sure that the person's being interviewed or being able to participate in their language, or to sort of help folks who can't use a technology or can connect with a focus group. So we're trying to make all pathways to give us feedback available. This week and next week, we're also going through and doing Trimet employee groups.
Trying to see.
Obviously, our operators, some of our security partners and staff, our service workers, and just a lot of the frontline employees to make sure we capture their voice as well. And as Doug mentioned, we've completed 2 online forums, which we have great presentations and prompts, and we're going to be posting those on our website, the project website, just to allow for folks to get more context about the project in general. All of the surveys that we've put out there have been translated into 7 languages, which are available on our project website, but we've also made those available to different community partners to share across the region. I believe we've received over 500 survey responses in different languages as that build into our total of 11,000 so far. But we're hoping to get a few more. And as Doug said, or Bernie said, the survey closes this weekend. So we're still promoting.
Well, where are the answers? Let's see them. They better publish those.
Generally, it's the timeline we feel good about. We're on time. We could use another week, but it is what it is. But we have a massive amount of internal staff doing heavy lifts from public.
You see how they've bureaucratized this? You see what they've done here? They've turned this into this giant bureaucracy. This is what technocracy does. They already know the answers. All you got to do is go through the Twitter or look at, I don't use Facebook anymore, but I know that Trimet has a site on Facebook, and there's a lot of feedback there. They already have the feedback, but they turn it into this huge bureaucracy. Look at all of this. It's all money into their pockets. It's just pathetic how they just turn everything into a big deal. They won't act on anything without bureaucratizing it.
And marketing and outreach to our safety and security and Marla and her team, which have leveraged a ton of time.
It's just bullshit.
It's
ridiculous. It's
and
insulting.
Research staff.
This is insulting to anybody that pays attention to any of this. This is completely insulting that they do this, that they just let this happen. And the public just, buys into it, I guess. I mean, oh my God. I'm watching the Titanic real-time sinking remastered. Oh, this is much better than the fucking Trimet board.
And so I can't wait to sort of give them their due. We get closer to the end of the project at the end of October. But generally speaking, I feel good about where we're at. So in terms of next steps, I mean, as Bernie alluded to, and I'm finally catching up with his summary, is we will be receiving our final reports from our internal research about crime and incidents on the system, as well as our external research related to promising practices across other transit properties around the country in terms of community partnerships or different models or different approaches. We'll be receiving those the first week of October and making those available to our committee. And then we'll receive all of the focus group reports and all of the online survey analysis second week of October. And that's obviously a lot of data, because if you've had a chance to take our survey, you realize we actually have a lot of open-ended questions. So we have a lot of staff working with us to sort of go through all of those thousands of ideas and recommendations and thoughts, so we can synthesize that into some really understandable information for the regional committee once it's convened. Obviously, the name of the committee is the Transit Safety Advisory Committee, and they'll be convening the second week of October to begin reviewing all the data, all the research, and start working through recommendations for Trimet's leadership to consider. Yeah,
Trimet's unelected, unaccountable leadership. It's just a pathetic show. It's pathetic. I'm having a hard time. I can't watch it because it's just fake. Okay, it's big fake production of nothing.
And then the idea, of course, is all of this information, all of the work, all of the ideas will be available on the website. And then my hope is that moving this forward beyond the project, we will be reconstituting our current Trimet Safety Committee. So we would have an ongoing community partnership to help us move this stuff forward beyond the project.
It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all bullshit.
We are still taking direct ideas, and we promoted this during the online sessions, both in English and Spanish, that folks can still just contact our department directly through the equity@trimet.org website, and or they can go to the website and continue to use the survey through the weekend. And I think I did one of these out of order, but I wanted to share a snapshot of the initial list of advisory
Bev
committee members.
Scott, there she
And
is.
so the good and the bad news, and I think someone...
Paul-
Any chance you can make that a little bit bigger, John?
Look at
That's,
this.
Yeah,
Look at who they are.
People like
man.
me think it's an eye test and I'm failing again.
certainly.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Bev
Thank you, sir.
Scott, fired from the
So
MBTA.
we have 6 pending members, and these are folks,
APTA, no good. Police, no good.
and ultimately it's because we are asking for a good amount of folks' time to really dig into these issues, and some of them are leaders of organizations, and some of them are part of larger systems, and so we're hoping to close the loop on them today or tomorrow. And these are the names you don't
Who
see are
decided
folks
on this?
represent,
That Doug did. That's
juvenile justice. We're looking for a few more house of service organization partners, some behavioral health folks, and some employer
transit
groups that
police.
serve
That's
transit-dependent
the people you
employees.
don't
But
want.
what we know we have today is Dr. Bev Scott,
Yeah,
who
great.
has worked with us in the past and is a national transit expert.
She's not an
Paul Hintz,
expert. She's
who's
a
national
hack.
safety on transit
Okay.
expert. Kevin Modica, who's a retired police and transit police commander.
Just
Janet
what you
Campbell,
need, a
who is
police
who
commander.
leads CAP, but is also part of Disability Rights Oregon. Patricia Daniels, who's the executive director of Constructing Hope.
Where they
Jonathan
are.
Colon, who is with Central Cultural.
Who the hell are these people?
Marcus Mundy with the Coalition of Communities of Color.
Who are those
Joan
people?
Farron, who is the executive of Rosemary Anderson High School that has locations both
Well,
in
these are all
Portland and
handpicked by
East
Doug, I
East
suppose.
Multnomah County. So we feel really good about the core group. I would share the other names, but I don't want to get ahead of them with their own sort of conversations. But
They totally bureaucratized this into a money-making operation. So sad. Such awful.
like I said, there's an additional 6 names that I can share with you.
Well, put them up there,
offline, but I don't want to
motherfucker.
say they've committed when they're really close. So that's the breakup
Put 'em up
committee, so far. And like I said, we got about 2.5 weeks before our first meeting, so we're chomping at the bit to get.
Where's Tristan Isaac? Okay, where's he? He should be on here. I don't see his name on here.
Get started, but want to make sure we have the right folks at the table.
Where's
No,
Opal? Where's Bus Riders Unite? Where the hell are they? Are they on there? If they're not on there, then this is a joke. Well, it is a joke.
Is that we have the meetings will be open meetings. So a lot of our government partners have been really interested in participating, and we're going to allow them. The meetings will be streamed live, and we're going to allow them to be participating in the background as just audience members, and we're trying to get their feedback throughout the process to make sure their voice is sort of there as well. But we really want the recommendations to come from folks who serve transit-dependent riders or vulnerable riders on the system, or have some sort of stakeholder to the ridership and ongoing safety and security of the system. So that's where we're at now. I can totally pause for questions. That was like
42
pretty
minutes of this
fast.
shit.
John, I mean, before we go to questions on this one, because the unique importance of this one, a couple things. One is, I think from the outset, I always remember Director Stovall's comment that this is a very aggressive timeline when we kick this off, and it was intentionally by design, because we also have, starting January 1st, the City of Portland's transit police are not going to provide the same service. So we have some of our own operational needs to be really keeping the heat on ourselves. And we just by nature want to keep the heat on ourselves. But I also want to be cognizant of the time side of things. So we're proceeding to the timelines you've talked about, but it is, I must say, to the board, the public, it is on my watch list in terms of am I pushing too aggressively here time-wise. So I'm just watching it right now, and I just want to then sort of pivot here to the work that John and team have done, and there is an immense amount of resources going into this effort behind the scenes. Typical iceberg picture comes to mind.
Iceberg!
Analytically, data analytics,
Iceberg,
community
as we
outreach,
watch
all
the
this,
Titanic.
working with our partners at URCO, Central Cultural, etc., to pull this all off in this time frame. So there really is a sizable effort inside Trimet to help do this. But the time piece is very much on my watch list. Do we try and come up with the right outcome at the end of the day? That's the objective here, to do it in a thoughtful way and not just drag these things out, which sometimes it can happen. So, and I do want to finally say before I open it up, I really want to thank John. John is doing just an outstanding job helping sweat the details here and helping us
John's
through
a great guy, right.
these complex dynamics. So thanks,
Thank
John.
God for
and
John,
I'm just going
right?
to hit pause here. President Warner, if anyone wants to have any questions on this piece before I move on to my next general manager updates.
Yeah, I see Director Edwards has raised his hand, so I think he probably has a question for John or you.
Yes, thank you, John, for that report, and I certainly appreciate your challenge in trying to get that committee put together. My question, I guess, is how big is the committee going to be, and how diverse is it going to be in regards to young people? When I say young people, I'm talking about probably 25 to 35 years old, but also I'm talking about high school students, perhaps getting them involved in this process as well. I think that's important to have them on the committee, but also make sure that their voices are being heard and they have as much value and input into the process as some of our senior members that are on that committee.
Thank you. It's great questions. So a couple things about the youth voice. So we are and have been convening focus groups that are youth focused only. And one of those group partners is Portland Youth Build, but POIC is another. We did reach out to SEI and a couple organizations like that for that same opportunity to gather those voices. But next week we'll be pulling folks from different high schools through our Access Transit High School program to make sure they're part of that conversation as well. In terms of the age of the committee members, there is one of the pending members who's more of a young, the demographic that we've asked to participate as well, that sort of emerging leader youth voice as part of the process. So I think that
they didn't show the goddamn hitting
and
the
the other
bird.
thing I would say is all the surveys will be able to tell you exactly the ages of the survey group. So you'll get a chance to see what young people thought about the questions we asked and or what their ideas were. So when we start parsing through that 11,000 survey responses, we'll be able to explain and walk folks through the different demographics and what the themes were in terms of what they'd like to see moving forward.
This is real-time syncing.
Great. Thank you very much.
Just to add on to this, thanks, John. Great answer. It also, you could see by the numbers, this is an area where sometimes you do basic research and data analytics and such, you do general samples and such. This is an area by the different kinds of research, analytics, surveys, focus groups, we're really going heavy in here so not one constituency group tilts the scale of any part of the viewpoint. We really want to capture and create a system that is welcoming for all, which comes back to our own vision statement. So the outreach is really pretty extensive here right now, which has been stressing time challenges for poor John, who's responding. So, sorry. Any other comments? Welcome.
Hey, Doug, the last thing I wanted to say about the timeline, there is another larger effort called Reimagine Oregon that's working across multiple areas. And one of the things they had asked, it's being led by a group of African-American leaders who run nonprofits. One of the things that they had said about this project, the Transit Safety Project, is they wanted to see action within 90 days, which did parallel Doug's commitment to move the system forward in 90 days. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do and be mindful for, as well as there may be recommendations that require us to sort of go to the legislature. So anything that would take that sort of lift would need to be really well cemented by November, which is still very late, but that's going to be the time to drive this project at the current time.
Okay, John, thank you very much. So continuing on.
Director Way raised her hand here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Director Way.
Enough beer.
That's okay. I don't know if John's still around, but thank you so much, John, for just the continuous updates around this project. I guess my question would be around the stakeholder, the committee group, and I saw one of your slides that said that this group would be coming up with recommendations. How are we prioritizing equity among the voices that are in that group, particularly from those who may not have a lot of political power? I'm thinking about, if we're trying to invite young people, right? Or if we're trying to invite Black or Native leaders there. And
he's up to speed on that. I'm over directing buses in the transit center. I'll let you know if and when I take over IC. Okay, I copy. 9510. 9510, go ahead. Yeah, I just want to confirm with you that you're the IC there. I guess so, yep. Okay, and we're going to start at Bus Bridge and start looking at doing turnbacks. Bus Bridge, gateway to 7th.
What a joke.
I copy that, gateway to 7th, Bus Bridge. Thanks. Yeah, like I said, send a cleaner your way. They'll check in when they get there. But in the meantime, as soon as we can get that train offloaded, we'll get them rolling. Copy, I've got them offloaded. I guess I'll go ahead and send him down to the bus side. He has a couple more interviews. What?
Look, please right on top of it. We interrupt this program to give you the max stabbing.
Train 81. Train 81. I'm eastbound Hollywood. I have a report of a passenger who's been stabbed.
Ride, Trimet. Enjoy your ride, folks. Where's the police? Nowhere. Nowhere to be found. They're busy checking tickets. Who knows where they are? They're never around when you need them. Never. It's just sick, isn't it? Bring out the buses. Here's a call. I already tweeted this. Yeah, there it is. Screw Dougie's right. Okay, back to the fucking hypocrites.
Oftentimes, they're waiting.
I mean, it's so perfect, isn't it, that the actual transit system is a disaster. Okay, folks? The actual transit system is a complete disaster, which, Dougie's going to tell you everything is wonderful, and John Gardner is going to tell you that these people are just completely disconnected from reality, and I'm going to cut it here because they're making me sick.